Good morning, students. I hope you understand the previous topic, applications of Gauss law. Now there is a one more application. It's called electric field intensity due to uniform charged spherical shell. Okay, uniformed charged spherical shell. Spherical shell in the sense it has a hollow sphere. Okay, now consider a hollow sphere. Its midpoint is O and its radius is r. On the surface of the hollow sphere, the charges are accumulated, positive charges are accumulated. Now, I am going to consider a point P from the center of the hollow sphere at the distance r. On the point P, I am going to assume a surface is called as a Gaussian surface. So this Gaussian surface has a radius small r. The capital R is the radius of the hollow sphere, spherical sphere, and small r is the radius of the Gaussian surface. Now on this surface, Gaussian surface, I am going to consider a small area of ds which is acting uh, along the direction of the electric field. Since it is a positive charge, the hollow sphere carries the positive charge. The direction of the electric field will be radially outward. The same way the direction of the area vector is also radially outward. That means the radius vector area vector and electric field are in same direction. So from Gauss law, what is Gauss law? The electric flux through a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed by the surface. That is, phi is equal to integration over a closed surface. E vector dot ds vector will be equal to q by epsilon naught, in which I have to calculate the value of a flux through this surface. That is integration over a closed surface E vector dot ds vector. In order to calculate this value, first I should assume that I should calculate the direction of the area vector and electric field intensity. As I told you earlier, both are acting in the same direction, so that the angle between them is 0. So the E vector dot ds vector can be written E ds cos theta, correct? I told you this vector notation can be changed. Dot product can be written in terms of cos theta. So cos 0 is equal to 1. Then the final value will be integration over a closed surface E ds. The magnitude of the flux will be integration over E ds is equal to q by epsilon naught. Now I have to calculate what is the value of this integration, in which the electric field will be constant. So which will comes out of the integration, I will get integration over E integration over ds. What is ds? I told you it's a area. When I integrate the small area, I'll get the total area of the surface. Then it is a hollow sphere. Then what is the formula for area of the hollow sphere? It's a 4 pi r square. So here the radius of the hollow sphere is r. So the value will be, so I am considering the Gaussian surface, correct? I am doing the integration on Gaussian surface, so that I have to calculate the area of this total Gaussian surface. So the radius of the Gaussian surface is small r. So the area of this Gaussian surface will be 4 pi r square, small r square. That is what we calculated here. Okay, which is equal to q by epsilon naught. Now E is equal to, let me calculate the electric field from this equation. E is equal to q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. E by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. E by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Okay. Now let me calculate the value of q from the surface charge density. What's the formula for surface charge density? Sigma is equal to q by a, area of the hollow sphere. Okay, then q value will be q is equal to sigma into a. Then I have to calculate the area of this hollow sphere. Then I can the same formula 4 pi r square, but in this case the r is a capital R, because we are calculating the area of the hollow sphere, so that we we wrote that Q is equal to sigma into 4 pi r square. I hope you understand why we wrote small r and capital R in these two terms. Here this small r indicates the area of the Gaussian surface. Here the capital R indicates the area of the hollow sphere. Okay. Now let us calculate the electric field. E is equal to, substitute the value of Q in this equation. Then when I substitute here, you will get sigma 4 pi capital R square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught small r square. This 4 pi gets cancelled. Then the remaining term E is equal to sigma r square divided by epsilon naught r square. So this is the electric field intensity at the point P, which is outside the spherical shell or spherical hollow sphere. Now we will calculate another point which is on the, see before that, the electric field due to uniformly charged thin spherical shell at a point outside the cell is such as if the whole charges were concentrated at the center of the shell. Now what happens at a point A which is on the surface? Consider the same spherical shell which carries the positive charge and radius of r. I am going to consider a point A on the surface of the spherical shell. On the cell I am going to consider a small area ds that is acting radially outward, and electric field intensity is also acting radially outward. That means the area vector and the electric field vectors are in same direction, so the theta will be 0. From Gauss law, flux through this hollow sphere will be integration over a closed surface E vector dot ds vector is equal to q by epsilon naught. Now since E vector and ds vectors are in same direction, then the theta will become 0, cos 0 will become 1. So we will get the magnitude of the flux will be integration over integration over a closed surface E ds is equal to q by epsilon naught. Then we have to find the integration of this E ds, where the previous case, as we did in a previous case, the electric field will comes out. Then integration over ds we need to calculate. What is ds? Is a small area. When you integrate the small area, you will get the total area. So here the total area of the small hollow sphere we need, because the point lies on the surface, then we have to calculate the area of this hollow sphere. Then what is the formula for area of the sphere? This is 4 pi r square, capital R square only. But previous case we wrote small r square because the point P lies outside the spherical shell. But in this case the point A lies on the surface of the shell, so the area will be 4 pi r square. Now, so substitute the value of integration, then we will get E 4 pi r square is equal to q by epsilon naught. From this we can calculate the electric field intensity. E is equal to q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Now what is the q value? Again it is calculated from the surface charge density, that is sigma is equal to q by A, as we did in a previous case, same. Then q is equal to sigma A. Now A is the area of the spherical shell, because the shell is a point is Gaussian surface and the hollow spheres are same in this case, but previous case they are different, so that we got as different values of area. But in this case both are same, so the area value will be same, that is sigma into 4 pi capital R square. Substitute the value of q here, then you will get sigma 4 pi R square instead of q, and divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. This r square 4 5 gets cancelled. Then the value of electric field intensity on the surface will be sigma by epsilon naught. This will be the maximum intensity due to the hollow spherical shell. The electric field due to uniformly charged shell at a point on the surface of the shell is maximum. Outside the shell there will be a value, but it is lesser value than on the surface. That means as the distance increases, the electric field will be decreasing. That is the concept. Then what happens when a point P is considered inside the shell? So there are three cases we derived. One is outside the shell, another one is on the surface of the shell, the third case is inside the shell. Consider a same hollow sphere which carries the positive plus q charge and the radius is capital R. I'm going to consider a point B inside the shell and whose radius is R prime and its Gaussian surface is denoted in a dotted line. Now from Gauss law we derive the equation, that is phi electric flux through this surface will be integration over a closed surface E vector dot ds vector is equal to q by epsilon naught. Then E vector and ds vectors are same direction, then the value of cos theta will be 1. So we will get the magnitude of the electric flux will be integration over a closed surface E ds is equal to q by epsilon naught. Now the integration value we have to find as it is in the previous case, but in this case the area of this Gaussian surface is this small area, then its radius is r prime, then the area will be 4 pi r prime square. Okay, then substitute the value E into 4 pi r prime square is equal to q by epsilon naught, or the electric field intensity is equal to 0 by 4 pi epsilon naught r prime square. Where do we get this 0? From where the 0 comes? Because the Gaussian surface does not include any charge. It doesn't have any charge. The charges are outside the Gaussian surface. So the charges do not contribute inside the Gaussian surface or do not gives the electric flux inside the Gaussian surface, so that the charge is 0, then the electric field intensity is also 0. So the electric field intensity inside the shell will be 0, not only in the shell, inside the conductor, inside the current carrying wire, everywhere the inside the, if it is a hollow one, then inside the shell will be 0. This is used for electrostatic shielding. So this is a greater application of this Gauss law. This we used shielding during the lightning and thunder. We create a cavity in which the electric field will be 0. That is called electrostatic shielding. So what is electrostatic shielding? In order to understand the electrostatic shielding, we must know before that the relation between the electric field and the ray distance will be drawn in a graph. It shows that as the distance r is increases, the electric field intensity is decreases. At a point r, that is on the surface, the electric field intensity will be maximum. Then before understanding the electrostatic shielding, we must understand the electrostatic behavior of the conductor or conductor properties. So conductor at electrostatic equilibrium has certain properties. What are the properties? The electric field is 0 everywhere inside the conductor. This true regardless to whether the conductor is solid or hollow. So first one, the electric field inside the conductor is 0. So the electric field do not contribute any value inside the conductor. It will be both solid or hollow sphere. There is second property, there is no net charge inside the conductor. The charges must be reside only on the surface of the conductor. So the charges on the conductor only on the surface, they do not present inside the conductor. Why do we need to study all this? Because it helps us to understand current propagation or current on the wire, because in our home current is carried through a wire. So how the currents are moving, our charges, whether we induce a charge or already the charges is present inside the conductor, that we need to understand how the current is flows in a conductor, that we need to understand. In order to understand, then first you should understand the static charges, then only you can able to study about the flowing charges. So this property will help us to study the charge properties of this electrostatic equilibrium conductors. The electric field outside the conductor is perpendicular to the surface of the conductor and has a magnitude of sigma by epsilon naught. This is what I told you. On the surface of the conductor, it has a maximum electric field intensity, that is sigma by epsilon naught. So this is for third property. And fourth property, the electrostatic potential has the same value on the surface and inside the conductor. So these four properties are very important to understand the conductors at equilibrium state, electrostatic equilibrium. With this we will wind up the class, and next class we will continue with electrostatic shielding.